Hello,
Hello.
everybody. Get my earphones on, actually.
Good morning.
Hello, everyone. We're going to give people a couple minutes to pop on. Admit all. I'm so happy to see all of you. Um, there. So, hello, good morning or afternoon or whatever it is, wherever you guys are. Um, I am going to take you through some different questions to ask yourselves and also a little mini journey that is going to be guided by your horses. And oh goodness, there's so many more people than I expected. Cool. Um, the whole focus of this little chat is the fact that we've been talking about the void and what that is. And hold on, let me get you all muted. If you guys can mute yourselves, that would be fantastic.
Amber, are we
Um,
not supposed to be on video? Should I take myself off?
no, you can be on video. Um,
Don't know how to mute.
I'm going to send the recording out and it will be just my face. So you guys won't actually be on there. So you don't need to worry about that. Um, I'm trying to find the mute all button. Oh, here we are. Mute all. Okay. So the void. What is the void? The void sounds crazy. It sounds extreme. It sounds too intense. But what it really is when your life feels like it is in chaos and there's so many decisions to make, and the sense of overwhelm and inability to like think straight to the point where you start to feel like you're just tired and you want to shut down. And I feel like the reason I was inspired to do this little workshop is because there are so many people that were experiencing that at this current moment. And also I was as well. So it was relevant to me to be able to like create this little journey around that because I was in it. I was in it. I was still in it. I think Shaylee's on here. I can't see everyone's faces, but we just had I think it's a retreat, an experience, if you will, that we did out in Aptos. And it was just a reminder of how human we all are and how there's such a common theme where people are really craving to have like safe community, to be authentic. And I was really stuck. And actually, whenever I do these, I feel like what happens is I get dislodged. And then, so I feel like I'm out of it now. So, but when I was speaking to, there were so many people. I think I put a poll up in my private group and everybody was like, do that one. So it told me that that's where a lot of people were. So, I mean, and there's just different phases that you're going to go through. There's different seasons in your life. It's just is what it is. So I also think sometimes people think something is wrong if they are in that space of overwhelm or um, just like things feel like chaos, feels like nothing is working out. And typically, what happens when you are feeling into that space is that you have a strong desire to figure it out. And you have a strong desire to, like, okay, now I need to problem solve. Now I need to go into the how and the what and the why about everything. And in fact, I had a mentor tell me once that when you are in the void is actually the worst time to try to figure out, which is very counterintuitive. So that is what I'm going to speak to today. And then I'm going to take you guys through a process to help you get out of that space. So if you guys want to drop in the chat box, as far as your stress level right now, from like 1 to 10, one is like, I am on vacation in the most beautiful place and my entire world is taken care of and I don't have to think about anything. 10 being like, holy shit, my life is falling apart in every way, shape, or form. Drop it in the comments. Um, and just know that it's just a phase. It's just a season. It will pass. It is not me. It does not mean your entire life is ending and this is the way it is forever. Look at you guys. We got a 2, a 7, 8, 8, 7, 7, 4, 7, 7 to 8. So like a lot of sevens, which is like, I mean, that's like, I gotta figure this stuff out. So if you feel like when you are in that mode, if you feel the grave desire to figure it out, then drop a why in the comments. Like, yeah, of course, I'm feeling like this. I surely have to figure out how to get out of this. And I think, I don't know if it's just conditioning from our society or is this also the dark night of the soul? Yeah, it could be. That would be at like a 10. I would I would say Dark Night of the Soul for me, 2017, where I was in a divorce, and it wasn't just like, oh, we don't like each other anymore, we're going to separate. It was pretty intense. I had betrayal of husband, betrayal of best friends, people that I worked on the property with, my business. I had to sell, our property. I had to get rid of my business. I had to uproot everything and the kids and everything. So that for me was like chaos, and there is no way out of this. Like I must move through it. If I would have not had that, I would not be doing what I do now. So I can look back in hindsight and say that, of course, that was what was supposed to happen. But typically, when you're in it, you're not going to go, oh, you can be pretty positive if you've done a lot of work where you're like, it's going to be fine. It's all for a reason. But most of the time, when you're in it, you can't really see the way out. And it just feels, for me, when I was in that, it felt like despair. It felt like I didn't have any energy. It felt like I was just like a glob of goo on my bathroom floor sobbing. So cheery. So, a lot of times what people will do is this discomfort, the sensation of discomfort is so horrible in my physical body that if you can't figure out a way out, you figure out a way to numb it. And so I drank a lot. Um, and and that was my way of just, how do I ease this? So we did talk a lot about this last weekend of pain being an amazing teacher, and remembering whether it's emotional pain, whether it's physical pain, the emotional pain it will manifest into physical pain. So we try to catch it when it's just at an emotional level and an energetic level. And so really it's about remembering that any emotion that you have is just a physical sensation passing through your body. It is just sensations. It is not going to kill you. It's not going to end things. It's like, if you can get yourself into a place of enough awareness where you're like, "Ooh, I feel this wave of whatever it feels like to you." If you guys have what it feels like when you are headed into one of those moments, like if you can really identify it in your physical body, where do you feel it? Does your head get hot? Does your stomach get in knots? Do your shoulders get tight? Do you have a hard time breathing? Drop it in the comments. Your flavor of I'm freaking outness. And really think about that for a minute. Like, put yourself in a stressful situation, or if you are just living in that right now, and just think about, how does it indicate to me that I'm moving into a space like that? Like, what does that feel like to me? Because I will say I'm getting quite a few lessons around this right now. And I know that it's hard when you're in it to find your way to neutral. So to identify when it's happening, like for me, I feel like I immediately feel tightness in my chest and like knots in my stomach are pretty much my go-to. What happens also is that my throat chakra kind of it'll tighten, and it'll feel like the words that I want to speak, don't want to make it out of my mouth. And so everything kind of just closes off. And that is just your body moving into survival. It's moving into a stress state. It's your sympathetic nervous system. It's great because if you are trying to survive something catastrophic, then it is going to protect all of the organs that need to be protected. It is going to stop your digestion so that you have the ability to run away and use that energy for surviving. But your body doesn't know the difference between an actual physical threat and an emotional threat. Like, it can feel the same. So if you've had any trauma before, and trauma can be a lot of things. That word gets thrown around quite a bit. If you think about trauma just being an emotional experience or a physical experience or something that has happened that has shifted you into a survival state, and the way that it gets stuck is that you were not able to do what you thought you needed to do to survive it, whether it was yell, whether it was run away, whether it was fight. If you couldn't do those things, and it can be car accidents, it can be, other acts of violence done towards you. And it can also be somebody saying something incredibly rude to you and hurtful to you, and you feeling like you couldn't stand up for yourself. That stuff can get stuck in your body, and it will remain there until it is acknowledged and allowed to move through. So the way that you can clear that stuff is sound and movement. And typically, the movement will come in the form of the way that your body moves in the way that it needed to move. You don't need to know what these things were to clear them in somatic experiencing. Like, you can just trust the infinite knowledge that your body has and how to do it. I think a lot of times people think they need to figure it out, and really that can just be moved through. And what happens when it's done in a nervous system that is in a relaxed state is that you're retraining your nervous system to not respond to that thing. So what happens too in group settings and safe settings when we're kind of conditioned to believe you need to be a certain way to fit in. People won't like you if you say that thing or do that thing. People will think you're weird. What happens is that you shut that part down, and that usually happens in school or at home with caretakers. So you begin to just gain masks. You know, this is who I need to be loved. This is who I need to be accepted. And you put these masks on, and then you continue on living inauthentically. So when you know that these things have happened that were either physically done to you or, you know, emotionally done to you, you know that this stuff is sort of living in your body. And what happens when you go into that stress mode is all of these things get exaggerated. And it's great because it's discomfort. So the pain being the teacher is, I can go, oh, I need to identify that thing is happening right now. I can get curious about it, and I can start asking the questions about it. Asking, I know it sounds weird. Talk to your body. Ask, what do I need to know about this right now? What are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to tell me? And acknowledge it rather than go, oh, my shoulder's hurting again. Let me pop some Advil. Because there are some things that you can actually physically clear without going into that. So getting curious about and aware of when this sensation is coming up. I know that my body is moving into this stress state. We know that living chronically in this stress state, which by your guys' numbers, it looks like a lot of you are just chilling there, which is totally normal because our nervous systems are not meant to live in the world that we live in. We're not meant to have phones. We're not meant to have, you know, life happening so fast. Like, and so we do end up living in this little low level state of stress all the time that will wear on your immune system, it wears on your body physically. So that is the reason why you would want to move through this. So you can call it the void. I call it the void because that's what we talked about when my mentor brought it up to me. But it can be, the event I'm doing in October has an online portion, and it has 3 phases of transformation within alchemy. And the first one being like the fire, it's the void, it's the dark night of the soul. It's like you are standing in the flames of like, oh my gosh, there's no way out. Like, this is wild. This cannot be my life. Like, what is even happening right now? But if you really think of those moments, and if you have had those moments and you are on the other side of those moments, you can look back and go, that is exactly what was happening, was you are burning away the versions of you that you have outgrown, that you are no longer needing. It's burning the way the old, you know, just as like a forest fire goes through, or if you just think of what fire does and how it cleanses and how it clears. And so the fire being the first stage, or the void, or the dark night of the soul. Secondly, you move into the phase of after it's all over and you're sifting through the ashes and you are identifying what's left. What is truth? What's left of all of that being burnt away is, I feel like for me in my situation back in 2017, I got to see who my real friends were. I got to understand how resilient I actually was. I got to understand that things can be really hard and don't actually kill you. And you can actually sit in all of it and remain calm, and allow the next step to come towards you. So what happens is, and then the third step would just be the integration of like, okay, now that I have this new viewpoint of who I am and who I can be and who I actually am at a core level without all these old conditionings, old stories, things that have been told to you that aren't your truth. After all of that is burnt away, like, who am I actually? And then thirdly is integration. And integration means like when I go out into the world, it's great. Well, you'll go to retreats, you'll do these workshops, you'll do all this stuff, and you'll start to figure this stuff out. And then you go back into the real world and then you don't speak up, or you do the same things you've always done. That just means there's a lack of integration. So from that new self, from your new knowledge, you have to decide, would this version of me in my truth, in my authenticity, would I make this decision? Would this choice be right for me right now? Or is this coming from an old, wounded, scared version of me that is holding me back and keeping me from living fully in it? And so those are like those 3 steps that I go through in the online portion of that. But we're just kind of dipping into the first one for this. And so thinking about that, what that feels like. And if you guys can identify in your life, if you're in something like that right now, it doesn't have to be so intense where you're like, my world is falling apart, but it can be like, how am I juggling getting the kids to school and this new job and my partner, or do I lost my job? And, if you can just really think and identify if you have something like that going on in your life, kind of feel into it and feel into that desire to figure it out and feel how when you are in that desire to figure it out, Shaylee had said something in one of the meditations where instead of allowing the information to come to you, you're like reaching for it, you're searching for it. And that is really going into, and I think these are always all women. The women love this stuff. There's never any men here. Yeah, not that it matters, but masculine versus feminine energy, there's a balance and everyone has it, whether you're male or female. But when you think about what in masculine energy embodies, it is decision making, it's figuring stuff out, it's, striving to like find the order, plan, get you there. And so what happens in that energy is that you are pushing and you get burnt out if you are staying there in out of balance. So if you think about shifting back into your feminine, it's receiving mode. It's like I can feel into how I feel in my body. I can feel into the creativity. Creativity is really a feminine energy. And what happens when you go back into a receiving mode and you can stay in that space for long enough, intuitively the next step comes to you. Like you don't have to strive and figure it out. You can just go back into the being of. So what we look for is how do I just be? How do I get myself into receiving mode? You can do a lot of different practices. It can be, going into a practice of gratitude. You can journal. You can do anything that kind of resets you into neutral. At the beginning of your day is the best. Do you have recommended? No, you know what I'll do though, is I'll put, if anyone in here does, throw them in the books. There's a lot of different books about polarity. There's a lot of different books about that type of stuff. What I'll do is when I send the recording out for this in the email, I'll link a couple of books that are like really good. And if anyone has anything to add in here too, that you know of, then I can put those in there too. And so it's like shifting, and you guys can do this, and you don't have to do this just because you're stressed and if there's just like a minor thing you can't figure out, instead of thinking so hard about what is the next step, it's like, let me sit back and allow the next step to come to me. And you have to get yourself into a space where you're not in that stress state, where your chest isn't tight, where your stomach's not in knots, where you're not nauseous and gonna throw up, and you have to find your own flavor of that. Taking your shoes off and walking outside, going and being in nature, going and being with your horse and not actually asking them of anything. We talk a lot about reciprocity, a lot about, I think most of the people that are in any of our groups are always givers. And they always want to be there to say, how much can I give to my horse? How can I make their life better? What can I do better for them? And typically, if you haven't disconnected from other humans, because I see either people go 2 ways when they're in with horses, is like, we don't like people, so we love horses. Or they are just givers in general and they give to everyone to the point where they're completely depleted. Either way, I don't really have a lot of people that join any of our programs that are like, I'm selfish and I need to learn how to get my horse to give me more. Like that just isn't a thing. So when I come in and talk about this stuff, I really focus on the reciprocity. The contracts, soul contracts that your horses come here to do. You have soul contracts with other people, friends, relationships, partnerships, and work, like whatever it is. There are these soul contracts that have come into your life to help you and support you on your journey and vice versa. So when you're with your horse, think about spending time allowing them to give to you, because that's the reciprocity. And I always go to my givers. it feels good to give. It feels good to give somebody something that they really wanted, and you get to have that lived, felt experience through their excitement of receiving this thing. If you don't allow people or animals to give to you, then you're actually, in fact, robbing them, you selfish people, robbing them of the experience of getting to live through you and see and feel that like sense of, oh God, that feels so good to like see somebody in front of me that I really care about light up. So think about that next time you're feeling, oh no, I'm fine, I'm fine. You are actually taking away from that person, and nobody in here wants to do that. So, if any of you feel like that resonates as givers, then drop, I was gonna say drop giver in the comments, or you can say taker, but that's kind of funny. If you resonate with that, if it feels like, yeah, I'm always giving and giving, and it's really hard for me to receive. So if it's hard for you to receive, it's typically going to be hard, a little more challenging for you to go into that receiving mode. So the idea with doing this journey is I was really out of whack for quite some time. Um, and we did this retreat this weekend, and then Shaylee and I hung out on the beach on Sunday, and we'll probably do a podcast about it, I'm sure, at some point. Well, at least some of it. And it was really like, let's go really deep into like, where are my blind spots? Like, what am I not seeing? Like, who am I? And being able to receive what I realized, I did not plan on telling you guys this. And I feel like what really triggers me is I feel like when people are being inauthentic, like they say one thing and they are another. So if you guys know anything about that kind of stuff, you know that if something triggers you, it is because it is something that lives within you. So we were asking ourselves questions around what bothers us and where are we living that way? That is why it bothers us. And so I was like, oh no, in authenticity, like where am I being a fraud? Where am I out of alignment? Because I get very offended when someone challenges my character, and it sends me straight into defensiveness. And what I identified last night was the defensiveness for me is when I want to say, no, that's not who I am. It is just a covering up of feeling unworthy, really. And so when I judge people that I see, it's so easy to judge people online. And I'm always like, don't be judgy. And then we're so judgy because we're humans, right? So you're constantly catching yourself, but like, where am I judging and why? And where does that live within me? Because I wouldn't be judging it if I didn't have that. And so where I realize I'm really inauthentic, and this is just something I realized last night, and I was driving with my boyfriend, I was like, that I have never hardcore sobbed in front of another woman. Is that wild? And what do I do at my events? I get women crying. I am the emotional plunger, okay, for y'all. And so I was making that wrong. I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like what, like, and I was sobbing yesterday, probably all day. And I don't know if it was like something in the stars. We have to talk to Denise about this, or what was going on in the planets, but I was like a mess yesterday, like all day. And I was in a mess because there was a situation that I was having with my boyfriend. There was a mess that I had to get horses moved around. I was sobbing the whole way back here. Like I was a disaster. And so, but what came out on the other side is I was like, oh my God, like I don't do that. Hold space for women all over to do that. And I don't do that myself. I was like, does that make me a fraud? And is that why I'm judging people? And then I realized what came from also our Sunday adventure was the way that I do life. Because the second question I was kind of having is I had asked Shaylee after our first dinner, I was like, you're so friendly. I just see people being so friendly at dinners and events and when you go out, and I tend to want to sit back and observe. And I don't talk a lot, and I think I do come off as maybe standoffish sometimes. And so I was like, do people think I'm a bitch? And what we identified, because we did a lot of work on Sunday, what we identified is that I get enjoyment living through people's experiences around me. Like I can feel into what they are experiencing just by watching. And it's almost like I get to have that joy, that connection, all of that stuff because I am witnessing other people doing it. Like I am the container for that. And so I was able to stop judging myself about that. And then I think it also correlates with when I am holding space for people to have really big emotional releases and kind of clear some of that stuff out. It's the same for me. I still feel like I probably need to sob pretty hardcore in front of another woman. I'm not sure what that's about, but I have not dug far enough into that to figure that out yet. Um, it's definitely from my childhood. It's definitely for me, I think caretaking for my mom, being a single mother. I'm sure it ties into that, but that's probably on my next adventure of learning. Um, there are those things. So if you have stuff in your life where you are hardcore judging, or um you can ask those questions. You can go, okay, well, where then? It's, can I get really honest with myself? Where is the truth in this for me? Because it's really uncomfortable, but it's really telling. And then I was able to do meditations and kind of clear all of the people that I had kind of judged and held in like this like annoyance around them. Um, and I did it's a Hawaiian prayer. It's like a forgiveness. And so, Ho'oponopono, Ho'opono, I'll put it in the links. Anyways, it's been a really powerful thing for me that I used to do years ago. And I had tucked it away, but I did it over and over and over on the drive back here with the horses. So I think that's what got me all cleared out. Um, so really it's like, am I in the fire? Why is this person annoying me so much? Anything that's like that is going to keep you away from finding the vision, finding the answers, finding the next step, and keeping you from being in the receiving mode. So finding the people that you feel safe around, going out into nature, going to your horse and saying, what do I need to know? And just allowing them to share with you without you feeling like you need to do anything with them. You can do some automatic writing out with them where you take like a journal with you. And, it was something that was funny that we started saying this weekend when we were doing some meditations, and then we'd have people come out and they would journal after. And someone had said, well, my pencil wrote this, which is weird because I didn't think this. So if you just do some automatic writing with your horse or out in nature, connect with the trees, have your feet in water, have your feet on the ground, and get yourself into that receiving mode where you're just being. You're not thinking about how to figure stuff out. You're not thinking about what the next step is. You're not trying and striving. You're just being, and allow the answers to come to you. Um, and you can receive those messages sometimes by automatic writing and just letting your pencil write or your pen write for you without thinking. It's a good practice to have. Says we have just entered the blue rhythmic storm year according to the Mayan calendar, which is a big storm of transmutation, clearing, big energy in the air. Nice. Maybe that's what was happening. Oh my gosh, me and Shaylee talked about the Mayan calendar. That's weird. Anyways, so yeah, so I decided for all the people that had voted for, yes, like we are in this and we want to figure out what to do when we're in it, because this, maybe it's the first time for you, maybe it's the millionth time, maybe you feel like you've lived there your whole life and you want the heck out of it. Whatever it is, you will always have these seasons and it will always come in, and you will get into these phases of transformation where this is how it happens. If you didn't have it, you would stay the same your whole life and probably have to do it again in the next life or whatever falls into your belief systems. I don't want to do lessons over and over, so I tend to just go straight into it. Like, what is this about? So I plan to do a little nervous system reset for everybody in this. Let's see. Yes, horses are so good at demanding the congruency. Yes, and authenticity. It's humbling to admit, recognize what triggers are self-reflected. Yes, it does. I found myself, what I kind of also figured, yesterday was a big day. What I figured out was that when I was getting into these, we'll call them passionate conversations with my boyfriend, is that I was judging him in these moments, because this is what Shaylee and I identified. I was having this experience where I was judging him for the way he was either talking or what he was saying, not intentionally, but it was creating me to see a mirror in front of me. And what I discovered is when I see something that he is doing or anyone is doing that I don't like, I recognize it as just a reflection of who I am in somewhere in me. Same thing as finding the things you judge. And so I decided that the next time something like that happens, I'm going to look at it as if this is a mirror that I'm looking at right now. If I do not like what I see, then I need to get myself aligned differently in this moment with what I do want to see. And if you think about me going into my defensive of my character, you're pushing, you're putting walls up, there is no opening of hearts in those moments. And so if you think about recognizing, oh, I'm looking in a mirror right now, that's crazy. Would I want that reflected to someone else that I love, some conversation I'm having, wherever that is? No. So you can sit back and align with what would I want to feel like right now? Yes, I'm doing this while he's talking. What would I want to feel like right now? And can I embody that sensation of neutrality? You don't have to feel good necessarily. Can I just go into neutral right now? Um, and the way that you can learn how to feel what neutral is, if you are constantly living in a chronic state of sevens and eights, is that you have to intentionally do it. So this little journey that we're going to do is that it is you intentionally going into neutrality, clear you out. And when I had been meditating, I've been pretty good about it the last like couple weeks after my funk. And I had Thunder show up several times. And if, for those of you that don't know, Thunder was a mini that I used in a lot of my sessions, my live sessions. And he transitioned, I think like 2 years ago. But he kept showing up in my meditations. And for those of you that have never done stuff with me, I don't really ever plan these journeys. I guess they get channeled through me. And so I don't ever know what I'm going to say. And I have to really wait until I get into the energy of the group and then it comes through. But he kept showing up in my dream and it was like him and me walking through flames. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to guide people, connect energetically with their horse and take them through and allow them to find a place of reset, but then also allow whatever animal wants to show up for you to give you the answers that you're sort of looking for. So that is going to be the intention of this meditation journey that we're doing. Carl Jung is the one. So I didn't know this. I kind of was doing these and I didn't realize what I was doing until I really dove into alchemy itself and the psychology side of it. And active imagination is basically what it is. And you're just relighting up different parts of your brain when you do this. And you think of little kids and their energy and how they're so creative and it just flows through them and they're, making all kinds of wild stuff up. And as we go through school and can get conditioned, we sort of shut all that stuff down. So this is a way for you to be able to tap back into that and wake those different parts of your brain back up. And then it leads you to being able to receive some of the information you might need. You may not get the entire picture. You may not get the answer that you're looking for, but you will get the next step. You know what I mean? So, and that's really all you need. It's like, hold on, I feel that happening physically in my body. It is and it is indicating to me that, I'm moving into this space where I'm going to be growing, I'm going to be learning some stuff if I can stay present to it. And if I cannot go into a panic, if I can lean back and go, okay, can I find that neutrality in my body? And then can I feel good even in those moments? But we'll start with neutral. Then you will physically, your health will, stay more balanced and also mentally and then energetically. Because usually when you're going through those big times of stress, you're going to end up sick on top of it. And so not ideal. So for those of you who have not done a journey with me, you can do it laying down, you can do it sitting up, you can do it however you want. If you have headphones, some people like that because you feel like you're in the experience because I will put the music on. Some people say it's too much, so do what you will with that. And then just have a journal close by you. I'm not really doing the breath work portion of it, so I will do a little bit of breathing. I will say, if you guys get tingling in your hands, just shake them out. It doesn't usually happen in these because it's not an actual breathwork session, but someone must need to hear that because I don't usually say that for these. So if you're out there, whoever's out there that gets tingly hands, it's fine. Breathe in your nose and out of your mouth and just shake your hands out. So does anybody have any questions? You can drop them in the chat box really quick before we get started, and then I'll let you know if you guys are ready. I guess I'm going to keep it around 20 minutes. So I was trying to keep it at noon to stop at noon, but the journey will be about 20 minutes. And when I do send the recording for you guys, is she like, no, we're not doing the breath of fire. We'll go about 20 minutes. I'll separate this journey out. So you guys, if you want to go back and do it again, like if you have to leave or you want to set it up differently for yourself, I will separate it out and you can into an audio and you guys can do it. I think most of us are not sure of what feminine energy is since we walk in a masculine energy world. Yeah, and I think for me, a lot of the learning that I've had over the years is I was even talking about that this morning is a lot of the relationships that I was in, and also being a horse trainer and running your own business and all of this stuff. It's like you do have to shift into the masculine here and there. It's just a matter of where can I balance that out. And so a lot of the relationships I was in, I was either I moved into that place and I created this different polarity that shifted the men into that, but it's not necessarily a bad thing other than if that doesn't align with you, it feels incongruent to who you are and you get tired, you get more burnt out, you get whatever. Um, so it's just about figuring out what feels good, and finding that balance. So let me shut my phone off and then I will get the music on. And then if you guys want to drop in the comments if the music is like blaringly loud, but I think that will be fine. Let's do this one. All right. Okay. And so as we're sitting here, just going to take a couple deep breaths. And if the music is way off, then feel free to drop something in the comments and I'll turn it down. So you're going to do some nice breaths in the nose and out of the mouth. Nice in the nose and then out, right out of your mouth. And you can let out a sigh. Anything that just feels good in your body to do. Any noise is great. In the nose and out of the mouth. And with each exhale, I want you to sink a little bit deeper into where you're sitting or lying. Inhale in even bigger than you thought possible, taking up more space in your body and where you lie. And then exhale. And then at the bottom of your exhale, blow out even more air than you think possible, really cleaning out the lungs, cleaning out old stagnant energy. And doing a nice big stretch at any point in time. If you feel like your body wants to move in any way, allow it permission to do whatever, even if it feels weird, even if it doesn't make sense. At any point in time, it's not about being perfectly still. It's about honoring the body, honoring the messages, listening to yourself, listening to the guidance. And then another inhale in. And at the top of this breath, take a couple extra sips to the point where you're almost uncomfortable. Like, I don't even have room for more air. And then take more. And hold it. And then exhale all the way out, nice and slow. And then at the end of your exhale, blow out even more, just cleansing, clearing all that stagnant energy out, out, out. And then just breathe normally for a couple minutes, just diving into a little bit of gratitude. Gratitude for the technology that we have to be able to do this. Gratitude for the space to do this. for the physical body that can do this. Now I want you to think about how grateful you are that your heart beats without you having to think about it. Your lungs breathe without having to think about it. Everything's just automatic, and how amazing that is. Really feel like what it feels like in your body to be grateful. Where do you feel it? The things you take for granted, the simple things. Just letting your mind file through all the things you're grateful now for in your life. The people, the places, the conversations, the connections, the animals, everything you have in your life. Feel that warm wash of gratitude opening up your heart. And take another nice deep breath. And I want you to become very aware that there is a bright golden light coming from above, beyond where you can see, in a beam down through the top of your head, right down through the center line of your body, lighting up all of your energy centers, letting the energy of this unconditional love and connection and protection work its way all the way down through your body. And allowing it to work its way all the way down, seeing these golden roots growing from underneath your physical body. Weaving its way through the earth, through the different layers, connecting you, reminding you that you are the earth and the earth is you, and that everything around you is connected as well. Just watching, knowing, feeling these roots weave its way through the rocks, through the textures, through the different layers, different temperatures, anchoring you in, connecting you more. And then weaving its way and connecting right in the middle with the energy of the center of the earth. And now I want you to go ahead and in your mind's eye, I want you to take a look around, and I want you to see the landscape around you. Notice what's under your feet. Is it grass? Is it stone? Are there rocks? It can be whatever your mind wants to do. Just allow it to show you. Let the images come to you. Don't reach. And then I want you to look up, and I want you to notice the landscape around you. Is there any water? Are there trees? Are there flowers? What does it look like around you? Notice any smells, any sounds that go along with any of this. And just notice the feeling in your body when you look out, when you're feeling the feeling of what's underneath your feet. When you look out at the landscape around you, how does it make you feel? And now I want you to look off to your left. And I want you to notice that there is an opening through a bunch of trees. It's almost like a wall of trees. As you make your way over there, just notice what kind of trees they are. Notice if you can see through them or not. And as you walk to the opening, I want you to notice that there is someone there who is non-physical, who has transitioned, an animal, waiting for you on the other side. You can take a minute, connect with them, feel the joy that you feel to see them again, knowing that they chose to come on this journey with you. So having gratitude for that choice. Seeing them in their true essence, connecting with their heart. And now you realize they start to walk away and you're going to follow them. And as you walk through this entrance in these trees, you notice it is a labyrinth, a big maze. And you're just going to continue to follow them. Turning left, turning right, going straight. Maybe there's some spirals. Just staying focused on them and where they're leading you. And as you start to make your way towards the center, you feel a warmth on your skin. You can feel it. And the more you walk, the warmer it gets. And now you find yourself at the center. And what you notice is the air is hot. And there's one more doorway to walk through. And the closer you get to it, the hotter it gets, almost to the point where you don't think you can go anymore. You continue to follow them through this open and into a room of flames. But you're not being burned. And as you walk through this space, you realize you are surrounded, but you're not being touched. It's hot, but not unbearable. Uncomfortable for sure. Standing there with them now, connecting with their heart to yours, knowing there's no way out at this current moment, but you have them with you. And I want you to take a nice deep breath into your heart space and allow the energy to become a color in your heart space and allow that to connect with the energy of that animal. The flames around you, the discomfort of the heat, letting your body have a visceral reaction, and feeling when you connect with them, letting those colors merge between the two of you. And I want you to ask, what is the next step? What do I need to know? What is the next thing for me to understand and learn that is for my highest and best? And allow them to give you that response. Don't reach for it, let it come to you. It can be a single word. It can be a lot of words. It can make sense or it cannot. It doesn't matter. Taking a deep breath. asking, what else do I need to know? And then as you stand there, you start to notice your skin starts to cool and the flames start to soften. And what you notice is a bright, right ring of light, iridescent, raining around that circle of fire, putting it out slowly and gently with love. Noticing it's getting cooler now, and the flames are getting smaller, and this white light is now surrounding you and your animal. Letting it clear any untruths that are blocks, cutting any cords, any hooks, releasing any contracts that would leave you unable to see, know, feel the next step. And while you're surrounded by this bright light, having this deep knowing that this is unconditional love, this is unconditional accepting. You in this connected moment with the animal that chose to come forward for you with messages, having this experience today, right here and right now, is the only thing that matters. Now go ahead and smile on the inside and the outside. And I want you to go ahead and gently step backwards away from the animal and allow your energies to separate gently like a lava lamp. Knowing that the detachment of these two energies is not disconnection. Returning back to them what's theirs and calling back what's yours. And now you'll notice that the bright white light is starting to soften, and you can start to see how it's opening up around the top, almost like dropping a veil back into the earth. And now you are again surrounded by the trees in the middle of that labyrinth. And if you need a nice big stretch, a nice shakeout, whatever feels good to you, take up some space. And you're going to make your way back through that maze, following your little guide. Weaving back through the trees or the walls, whatever your maze was made of. And as you make your way out, you start to notice you are back where you started. Seeing that landscape and seeing if anything looks different about that landscape now. Has it changed at all? Is it the same? And now you're going to find the spot where you started, and you're going to take a nice deep breath, connecting with the animal that came forward to guide you and saying thank you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for the messages. Thank you for always protecting and supporting me from the other side. And now you're going to feel your energy working its way back up through those roots, back up through the earth, through the different layers. reconnecting with your physical body, where it sits or lies, letting your body fill up with the messages and the energy of these messages, letting it fill up your organs, your tissues, your muscles, almost like medicine, rebalancing, restoring, and allowing a spark of your essence to reconnect with that golden beam all the way up through and beyond, allowing you to stay connected from above to below. Remembering that we are all one. And then taking another nice deep breath. Having another nice stretch, whether you need to stand up, start to open your eyes, wiggle your toes. And I want you to take a few minutes and just journal those messages down so that you don't forget. It can be the practice of that automatic writing. Let any words that want to fall out without too much thought, let them just be channeled through your pen or pencil, whether it's stuff you remember that you were told in this journey or anything else that wants to come through. I'll give you about 5 minutes to spend doing that. And then if you guys are feeling called, you can drop something that you want to share in the comments. Then feel free to do that in the chat box. Whether it's about the animal that came through or some significant message, feel free to just be witnessed there in that space. Taking nice deep breaths, feeling into the softness of the messages. Good, nice deep breath. What did it feel like to be connected, to be guided, to not have to think, to allow the receiving of the messages? How easy it was. And if it was challenging, that's okay too. It's part of the journey. Good. You guys feel free to keep journaling, whatever feels good to you. If it feels good to you to share in the comments, please feel free. We had one. This was beautiful. All of my deceased herd came through and each of them had a message. So profound. Thank you. I love that. And then we have challenging. I cried and did not want to leave my guides. Yeah, so it's this lesson in remembering that you can always stay connected with them, but be detached to their physical presence. I think we sometimes learn or feel like we need to have the physical thing, and just remembering you can always tap into this space and you can always take a visit and go say hi. My Mustang Branson was with me, always watching over me. My love for that boy, my love for that boy keeps growing. Oh, so cute. Love that. Got poignant and painful, but beautiful. The fire was very triggering. My labyrinth was, where did it go? It's moving, it's moving. My labyrinth was the mountain trails. Jasper and I spent a summer exploring with my old gelding. He walked me through to the fire and stood steady as always while I wept and released. Yes, love it. My wonderful Festina came to guide me. I'm struggling with big decisions with my current mare. Festina told me that Lady is here to finish the work I started. She will be ready for, oh, I'm getting choked up. She will be ready for a change when you are. She is waiting for you. Oh, love that one a lot. I want to invite you guys to continue journaling, continue spending as much time as you need in this space. And what I'm going to be putting out soon, and I'll send shush music. I'll send I will send, what will I send? I will send the link for a new offering I'm gonna have with just a couple different exercises and videos. It'll be some meditation, some journaling, and then exercises you can do to connect with your horses without writing, in the physical and then in the non-physical too. And then also if any of you are interested in joining us in October for the Art of Equine Alchemy It's a live event that we're going to be doing. We're going to have presenters. Shaylee and I are going to be your hosts. We're going to have Celeste Lazares, Tara Davis, Heather Corneman, Dana Lovell, Stephanie Spielhopper, Ellie O'Brien. And it's going to bring the entire audience in. And so I'll put the link in there for that. And what you guys will get for joining us live today will be a special price for that. So if you guys are interested, you'll get a follow-up email, and I will separate this meditation out for you guys. So you will be able to do it again if you need to. Definitely going to do this meditation again and again. Yay! I'm so excited. I had no idea where we were gonna go. Thunder showed up and showed me. So the gratitude part caused a whole bunch of tears for me. I'm so thankful for this community. Oh, Stephanie. I know, so am I. Summer came through. Don't be afraid of your feminine energy. Be steadfast, strong, and enjoy the power of love, your feminine energy. Love that. My dog jumped in my lap and followed the golden light down through my body. I was so relaxed, I fell asleep. We'll look forward to doing this again. Yeah, sometimes when you get your nervous system reset like that, it's exactly what you need. So that's why I'll do this meditation again for you guys, and you can stay more present. And if you don't, it doesn't matter, because the work is still being done, regardless if you are conscious or not. But it is fun to be able to get the messages and yeah, and do it. Anyway, thank you. You're welcome, everyone. You're welcome. You're welcome. It was super fun. I haven't done anything like this in a long time because that was in my void. But I'm feeling renewed and refreshed and ready to guide you out of your funks. So if you guys want to share more or something comes up later, you guys are always welcome to go into the Art of Equine Alchemy. There's a private group. I'll stick a link for that in the follow-up email too, if you guys aren't already in it. And you can go in there and share. It's a really safe community, safe space to be able to say any of the things. No judgy biatches in there. If they are, we kick them out. So you guys are good there. All right. I will see you guys later. Thank you for joining me. And yes, love to all of you. Thank you for doing the work for the collective and for yourselves.